Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel Books with Natasa. I know it's been a while and I was just very busy with my midterms and schoolwork, so I'll try to make it up to you guys by filming a lot of content around Christmas time, because in 1 week or so I will start my Christmas vacations, which is like 2 weeks, so I can film more for you guys. Today let's talk about all the books that I read in the months November and December and wrap up this whole year. These 2 months I read 16 books, and it's not a lot based on my average amount of books that I read each month, which is 14, but I had a lot of fun reading all of these. And without any further ado, let's get straight into the video. The first book that I reread was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas, and that is one of my all-time favorite books starting this year, and I gave it, of course, 5 out of 5 stars. This book follows this girl that is around 19. I'm blocking out her name right now, I can't remember, I'm so sorry. But she has this boyfriend named Cole, I can't believe that I remember his name. But anyway, they date and they start having some problems with their apartment and they have to go. So they move in with his father, Pike Lawson, of course. And there is no cheating in this book, and the girl and the father get together after the breakup. And also the first scene of this book will totally get you on board with their relationship, even though it's a lot of taboo. And this was my first ever kind of taboo book that I read, and I was so happy that I chose this one because it's just phenomenal, and it's just such an incredible slow burn because it builds up so much tension and angst, and when they get together you're like, finally. Also, Penelope Douglas wrapped it up incredibly because she gave us these little time jumps, like 3 years later, a few months later. And it was such an incredible way to wrap all of the events that happened and give us the happy ending that we wanted for these characters. So you guys should definitely read it. It's incredible book. Next, I read The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and this book it had a lot of mixed reviews, but I decided to give it a go because it had fake dating, which I adore. It's one of my favorite tropes. And I asked a few of my friends that if they actually loved it or hated it, or they were like mixed in between, but most of them loved it, so I decided to give it a go. I loved it after about halfway through because I couldn't exactly connect with the characters at first, maybe because my problem, maybe I wasn't in my right set to read this book, but I ended up loving it. It has fake dating, grabbing sunshine, and I think it's a brother's sister, brother's best friend, something like that. I can't remember. It's been like 2 months since I read this book. I'm so sorry. But I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely adore it. It's a really good summer read also, if you guys are interested in reading it around summertime, because they have these vacations in Hawaii, if I remember correctly. And it's super fun also, and I love how they had this misunderstanding about what they felt at the beginning, and then it was cleared up and all these emotions start rushing back. Also the ending when the guy did this grand gesture for the girl was so sweet and incredible. So you guys should definitely give this book a chance because it's amazing, and I plan to continue reading books by Christina Lauren in the next year. Next, after my friend Chloe again and again told me to prioritize and read this book, I finally did, and that book is Kingdom of the Cursed by Kerry Maniscalco. This is the second book in Kingdom of the Wicked series by her. If you don't know, she also written an all-time favorite series of mine, Stalking Jack the Ripper, which is like absolutely behind me. So of course I needed to read her newest series, and I absolutely adore it. The first book was okay for me, I gave it like 4 stars, but this one was 5 stars. It was so amazing. It ranked up from young adult to new adult, which I loved. It was like a smutty romance, which was amazing because I was kind of in the mood for that. I haven't read so much fantasy this year, but I'm actually loving reading romance, so it's kind of been really good for me. So Wrath is just amazing, and Emilia, and all these mysteries around this book was so incredible. And how could Kieran Maniscalco done this to us with a cliffhanger? I mean, I need like book 3 like yesterday. I mean, why is she so cruel with us? I don't understand it. But this book was so, it had so many smart scenes, was my favorite, I know, but maybe some people don't like that much smart, but I absolutely adore it. It was the right amount for me. And I also kind of predicted the ending about the sister, but I also kind of don't. It was kind of a complex thing, but 5 out of 5 stars if you guys haven't noticed, but I can't wait for book 3, please give it to me. Next, I reread White Hockey's Stone Cold Touch and Every Last Breath. This is the Dark Elements trilogy by Jennifer L. Armentrout and one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I absolutely love reading about Roth and Layla. They're one of my old TPs. I really love them. If you haven't noticed, 5 stars all these books. The second book isn't my favorite, but about halfway and after it really picks up and it's amazing because all this misunderstanding kind of clear up. And anyway, so this book follows Layla, who's half demon and half warden, which is gargoyle, and she spends all her life struggling with this existence because she is basically sucking souls because she also has that demonic ability. And the wardens are her family, they're raising her, but they also teach her to hate her demonic side. There are all changes where she meets the crown prince Astaroth, otherwise known as Roth, who helps her embrace that side of her, and also she learns later that the wardens have lied to her about a lot of things, and when basically Armageddon is coming, she needs to make all these choices and she doesn't know who and or what she can trust it. So if you guys aren't already sold by this synopsis, I know it's really good, isn't really good, but you should definitely read the synopsis before deciding if you're going to read this book. Next, one of my all-time, my most anticipated release of the year, and that is Believing by Tahara Mafi. This is a novella set after the events of Imagine Me, and it gave me the ending that I wished for, prayed for, hoped for, because the end of Imagine Me left a lot of unanswered questions, especially about Gordon and Juliet. We didn't even get a happy ending for them, and I really wanted that. So this book is them planning their wedding, which is amazing. I actually adore it. At first I was like a little angry with Juliet with all of that stuff going on and miscommunication, but after how she defended Warren, that was my all-time favorite scene, and the wedding that took place later and her presence to him, and it was all of it amazing. If you guys haven't read the Saturn series, definitely do it. If you are hesitant, just hang in there until book 3. If you still don't love the series until book 3, you will never love it. So yes, 5 out of 5 stars, absolutely adore it. I'm really hoping Tahara Mafi will continue reading about the series or a spin-off following Kenzie. Anything about any content about the series, I will definitely read it. Next, after 4 years of saying I will start reading this series, I finally started it, and that series is Bloodlines by Sarah Mead. I've read the first book middle of November, and I absolutely adore it. 4 stars. I was hesitant about reading about different characters, but Sydney was such a different character from Rose, and I really enjoy seeing that. Also, Adrian Ivaskov is just amazing. I already loved him from the VA series, but I absolutely fell in love with him in this series so much. He's so fun and snarky, and I really enjoy seeing more of that side of him after the events of Vampire Academy series. I mean, he was heartbroken and was suffering, and I had a lot of fun reading about how he overcame that with the help of his friends and Sydney, and that was so much fun to read about. Next, I didn't continue with the series right away, so I decided to read the most hyped book of the year, and that is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and I absolutely adore this book. It's one of my all-time favorites book. I can highly recommend you guys reading it. 5 out of 5 stars. This follows two scientists, one a student and one teacher, but it's not like a student-teacher romance. It has fake dating, which, as you know, I absolutely adore, and it's just so incredible. You guys should read it. Any snob you will read, it's not gonna do this book justice. It's just so incredible. You guys should read it. It has Adam Karsten and it has Olive. They are incredible, and I just love them with all my heart. I can't wait to read this book again. I already read it 2 times in November back to back. So this book, it hasn't happened with me. This is the first book that has ever done this to me. So if you guys love my recommendations so far, definitely read this book. I continue my binge read of the Bloodlines series with The Golden Lily, which I gave 4.75 out of 5 stars, and I absolutely adore it. I love watching Sydney and Adrian's relationship evolve further and becoming friends, and her coming to realize that the vampires aren't so bad as the alchemist made her to believe, and that was really amazing. Also, she was starting to become involved with magic and with the help of her teacher, and I actually adore that. Next, I read The Indigo Spell by Rachel Mead, which I gave 4.75 out of 5 stars again. I will give slight spoilers for the series, so I will put a warning before so you guys know. This book was also very good, and again, all these scenes with Adrian and Sydney was just phenomenal. Also, I really hate the alchemists. I really, with every fiber of my being, they are so mean and I hate them so much. I read my favorite book of this series, and that is The Fire Heart by Rachel Mead, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Now, we had a huge development in this book revolving Adrian and Sydney. Also, if I remember correctly, this book had a cliffhanger or the next one. I'm not sure because I read all these books back to back, so the events are kind of jumbled up in my head. But this book was so amazing because they sort of came to terms with their feelings, but they also are very scared of what it could mean, because both communities, the alchemists and the Moroi, they don't feel strong about vampires than humans, and so they will get a lot of backlash if they do decide to make it public. So they decided to start dating in secret and no one knows besides them. Next, I read Sliver Shadows, 5 out of 5 stars. That book was just so stressful because of what happened in the previous book. Sydney was kidnapped by the alchemist and is held captive, and I was just so stressed. And I mean, I isn't really doing anything in the first half of the book, and I just really hated that. I mean, resentment me, why did you do this to me? But afterwards, when they start communicating the dream, and he knows, he starts finding a way to find her, and it's just amazing. You guys should definitely read this series, it's so good. The final book in the series, The Ruby Circle, 5 out of 5 stars again, and I absolutely adore it. They got married and they aren't on the run anymore. Her father is such an asshole. Her sister also came around, and basically a very good ending, and they got the happy ending they wanted, a family and everything. Also, Rose and Dimitri also made a few appearances in the series, which I absolutely adored. And I hope Rachel Mead continues to write in this universe, because she does an incredible job, and I really can't get enough reading this series. Also, side note, I wasn't sure if any books could beat Vampire Academy for me, but I think Bloodlines did it, and I think it is my top vampire series. I know I used to say for a long time that Bloodlines can surpass BA for me, but Rose and Dimitri's relationship is very nice and awesome, but they took like until the 6th book to get together, and Sydney and Adrian took into book 3, I think. So that kind of did it for me, because it was quicker and not so much life and death. not to say that this series wasn't super intense, because it was, but yeah, absolutely adore. I read My Best Friend's Sisters by QB Tyler, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This book has 100 pages, and it follows this girl, Ava, and she goes to live in her brother's house, and basically his brother is away a lot, her brother is away a lot, and asks his best friend to help her around the city, to look after her basically. But then she asks him to help her with a little problem with something that is on her mind basically, and she asks him to help her lose her virginity. I mean, come on, it was amazing. And yes, he fights it a lot, he says it's wrong, I don't want to, but they basically start having feelings for one another, and they start dating, and they are very good together, and nothing is wrong until they come clean to the brother, and then all hell breaks loose. But I also adore it. It was like reading a 300-page book, no, and a 101. It was so good, and I can't wait to read more from QB Tyler. The first book I read was a few days ago, and that is A Risk on Forever by N.S. Perkins, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This book was recommended to me by a very good friend of mine, and I will put her Instagram down below. I live for her recommendations because she's the one that recommended me the Surviving the Time trilogy, which is also one of my all-time favorite trilogies. And this one book was no different. It had boss-employee relationship, sort of, and there is this girl who takes on this job to look after an old woman who is basically they can walk and move, and she basically keeps her company while her son, who is a pilot, is not home a lot. So yeah, she basically forces them to have a relationship. Not forces, she is making them have this relationship because she thinks they are very good together, and they start having feelings for one another, but they start fighting because it's not right, because he's her boss and she's afraid that she's going to lose her job, and she really needs the money to look after her brother and father. But one night they have sex, and they can't deny their feelings anymore. So yeah, basically this book later gets sad, as my friend warned me about. I did cry a little bit because it was sad, but you can't predict what is going to happen to make it sad, but it's still very heartbreaking to read about. And I loved how the ending wrapped up, but it was kind of annoying what the man did, and I love how his best friend also like cursed him out for it because it wasn't his choice to make. And anyway, I don't want to spoil this for you guys, but you should definitely read it. It's really good. You can also find that thing on Kindle Unlimited. Give it a search, I'm not sure, but you should definitely read it. That I'm currently reading is The Doctor by Nikki Sloan, and the YouTuber All Hates Mika recommended it to me because it's like Birthday Girl on steroids, and I can't say I blame her for saying this to me, but I'm only like 50 pages in, and they have already hooked up, and I mean, she was totally right, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, because I really want some build-up before the sex scene happens, because yeah, I mean, hello, we're in the book and then it happened, I mean, come on. But I don't want to say how I'm feeling and then say it, so I'm really hoping as I'm continuing to read it, I'm really gonna love it, but nothing can top Birthday Girl for me in this subgenre anyway. But if you guys have any recommendations with brother's best friend or boyfriend's best dad or something like that, let me know, because I'm a sucker for this type of genre. Anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. I will try to post more regularly now that it's Christmas time. And like, subscribe, and stick around for more. Also check out my accounts down below for more content, and I will see you very soon. Bye!